they're all getting jobs, right? They're not working at the local coffee shop. They're all gainfully employed.
100% job placement for our graduates in the industry.
Yeah, and pretty good paying jobs too.
Very good paying jobs.
Yeah.
We are actually...
Claire's smiling right now. If you're not watching on the video, she's like thinking, "Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to be making the big bucks." I'm really excited about today's topic because we're going to talk about this really great program called the Concrete Industry Management. Glad to have Claire Puckett here and Ryan Penlerick here. Ryan is actually one of the professors. Are you a founder of the program?
I am not.
Yeah, but you were involved in certainly bringing it to the level it is right now.
Correct.
And Claire's one of our students. So Claire, let's start with you.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Tyler, Texas. I lived there my entire life.
Tyler Rose. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I graduated high school from Troop, Texas, a little small town about 30 miles. Troop, Texas.
What
yes,
is
sir.
What's the mascot for Troop?
Troop Tigers. I was actually the mascot.
Were you really?
Yes, sir. Tango the Tiger.
Tango the Tiger.
Yes.
And I learn something every day when I do the podcast. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
In a town that small, you're kind of in everything. You're in nothing.
Yeah.
And I chose the everything side. Everything except sports.
So not in sports, but like we're in band and...
I was head drum major. I was a cheerleader. I was mascot.
Checkers Club?
We actually didn't have one. I did want to learn how to play chess, though. Still working on that. Not the best.
It's complicated.
Kind of just like moving things around. Somehow I win.
Legos. Yeah.
I love. Yes, but small town outside of Tyler called Troop. Got to come to school here with my best friend who also joined the CIM program.
Really?
Yes, sir. So I'm just completely blessed.
Now, you and I know each other pretty well. We've talked several times, but I don't know the answer to this question. Did you come here for CIM?
Yes.
I'm blown away by that.
So about 8 years ago, Dr. Wild came and spoke to one of my mother's programs. She works for Texas Mining.
Your mom and I go way back, by
yes,
the way.
Absolutely.
We're very close friends. Yeah.
And so he came and spoke to one of the teacher workshops, and my mom and him started talking, and she kind of just goes, "Hey, I've got a kid you can have in 8 years." And so that's kind of how I got pushed in the program.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't change it for anything else.
Yeah.
I knew I either wanted to be a Bobcat or I wanted to be an Aggie. And A&M does not have a CIM program.
Way better decision.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm an Aggie, so I can say that. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Do you remember like coming onto campus for the first time?
Yes, sir.
Was it as a high school student?
Yes, sir. The first time I came to campus, I think it was on a Bobcat day.
Uh-huh.
I went with my mom. And we just had.
Were you wearing like a Letterman's jacket and really high schooly?
Actually, I didn't because it was a Bobcat day because it was the day after my senior night. We had won the game in overtime, and so I'm like up there on the podium conducting, and so we go home because we live 30 minutes away. We go home, take about a 2-hour nap. We get up at 3 a.m. To haul butt to get here, and it was absolutely amazing. I fell in love with the campus. It was a little cloudy that day, so I kind of got the full like rainy day Texas State experience. But it was absolutely amazing.
You know, we made history today. No one has ever said haul butt on this podcast. That's really good. So thank you, Claire. Ryan, tell us your story. Like, where'd you grow up?
Well, I actually grew up in western Nebraska.
Okay.
So a little town called Alliance. Graduated from Alliance High School.
What was the mascot of Alliance?
We
High
were the
School?
Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs. Okay,
Yes.
very good. Does it have a name or just the Bulldogs?
Just
like
the Bulldogs.
Tony the Tiger. What is it?
Tango
the Tiger?
No, just a generic Bulldog.
Yeah, generic Bulldog. And so growing up, what was your plan? What were you going to do when you grew up?
So I actually thought about and actually majored in architectural engineering to begin with.
Oh, so you're kind of like in the same realm, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did that for a few years and long story short, needed to find something else. And
did you go to college?
I did.
Right out of high school?
I did.
Where'd you go?
Colorado State.
Okay.
So I got my construction management degree from Colorado State, moved to Texas, went to work in the industry, and
you're building stuff
throughout that time. I was
in the Austin area,
in mostly in San Antonio, but my career took me all over Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma.
What kind of things are you building?
The first 10, 11 years of my career were multifamily construction.
Okay,
and
so
then
apartment complexes. Stick building, or
some stick build, some mid-rise, high-rise.
Okay.
So we did a little bit of it. Worked my way through a master's program and worked my way through a PhD program, and
you just got your PhD.
I did.
Yeah,
I just got it in December.
Congratulations.
So newly minted PhD.
Does it feel weird to have people call you doctor now?
It does.
Yeah.
I joke with my friends in the industry and tell them I think I maybe lost more respect from them than I gained with getting the PhD. So
my daughter one time was introducing me to a friend from afar. Like I could see her talking and I overheard her say, "That's my daddy. He's a doctor, but not the kind that can do you any good." So kids are very humbling. Tell us about, Ryan, maybe you're the best one to give this story, the history of the creation of CIM here at Texas State.
Sure. So a brief history. The CIM program actually started at Middle Tennessee State University back in the...
I mean, the very first one?
The very first
Yeah.
one, back in the late 1990s.
Yeah.
And it was born of...
Way back in the late 1990s.
born of a need
Yeah.
for folks to come into the concrete industry specifically and run batch plants and precast plants and things like that. So Texas State gained the program in 2009. Our first graduating class was 2011. So from a historical standpoint, still a fairly young program.
Yeah.
We've 15 or 16 years of graduates and alumni out in the industry now.
You know, I love the program because of my interest and background, and I love concrete. I love watching. Somehow on Instagram now, I keep seeing these 3D printed cement thing, like they're building houses with these 3D printers, which it got my algorithm now. I'm seeing it all the time. It's just fascinating stuff. But I've been going to this conference that it just blows my mind, the name of it, World of Concrete in Vegas. And when I go there, I didn't know what to expect when I went there, but the parking lot is just packed with these cranes and these big concrete trucks, and it's a huge industry where they all come together and they're selling products, but they're also learning about how to improve concrete, right? The innovations that are happening there. Yeah. So, and you take students there.
We do. Every year we take this year we took 16 students. That number's grown over time, but we have meetings with the industry. We have meetings with our National Steering Committee, who kind of coordinates the 5 programs, and we talk about curriculum, and we have a student competition that Claire participated in this year and trying to win a scholarship. So a lot of great things for the students out there in addition to learning about the new technologies of the industry.
Claire, what is your expectation? When are you graduating?
Should be May of 2028.
So you're just getting started.
Yes, sir.
May of 28. Man, that's a long time from now. So between now and then, how are you going to prepare yourself for life after Texas State? Are you going to be, I'm sure you'll go to World of Concrete and you're going to be taking classes, but are you going to do anything else to prepare yourself?
I already have an internship for this summer.
Yeah.
I get to intern with CIMX, which is just down the street, New Braunfels. We actually get to go on a tour of CIMX tomorrow.
Oh.
So very excited for that one. But every summer I want to try a different internship to dip my toe into different areas in the industry. That way, when I do graduate, I'll definitely be ready to go delve into what I want to do, like specifically. But just even being on campus, the teachers here, they're here to help you succeed.
Yeah.
And we've got phenomenal staff. And so just being able to take these classes and learn more about an industry that I so dearly love is absolutely amazing.
I'm just fascinated with the fact that 8 years ago you had this thing in mind, and it's all kind of happening for you now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We always think about these kind of value-added experiences for our students, or research experience, or a study abroad experience, or an internship experience. We think that those things really make students' experiences add value to just getting the degree and going to class and so on. So I'm excited about the fact that you're going to do some internships, because you'll learn a lot in the classroom, but I think you'll learn even more in the internship, because now you see how it gets applied and how the classes you're taking are actually applicable to the work. So
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about that.
Absolutely.
So are you going to get paid for doing it too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, even better. I didn't get paid for my internship. I got ripped off. So
We don't work for free.
Yeah, I know. So Ryan, you didn't start off in concrete. How did you get into concrete?
Concrete's an integral part of the construction
Yeah.
industry, so I can't name a project that I built in 25 years that didn't involve concrete in some way. And at one point, for the last 11 years of my industry career, from 11 to 22, I owned my own company, and one of those companies was a concrete contracting company. So it's always an integral part of construction. So
Concrete itself has been around for a long time, and remind me the statistic. Is it the biggest man-made material in the world, or something like that? What is it? What is the statistic on that?
it is the most utilized product on Earth
On Earth, yeah.
after water, but it includes water in the
Yeah.
mix. So
Wow, it's
highly
unbelievable.
utilized.
Yeah, it's used in almost everything now, including art, by the
Yes.
way. But the ultimate structure hasn't changed too much. So how do you make concrete?
Basic 4 ingredients are Portland cement, which is changing scientifically every day, aggregate, sand, and water.
Yeah.
And that's going to give you a basic concrete. Now there's different proportioning and things to it, and now we've got an entire sub-industry of concrete admixtures and another sub-industry of fiber reinforcement that's mixed into the concrete. So there's a lot of things happening, and a lot of sustainability initiatives and changing cement chemistries, a lot going on in the research space, and a lot for the students to participate in with our faculty in research.
Now, what is cement, though?
Cement is the flour of the cake.
Yeah.
If concrete's the cake, cement is the flour.
So where does it come from?
It comes from limestone.
Okay.
So all those plants that you see as you drive down I-35,
they're crushing limestone.
They are crushing limestone. They're running it through a kiln to about 2,700 degrees, making a molten material that hardens, and it's called clinker. And then basically we grind that up and mix it with a little
into powder. Yeah. The technology is changing so much on how you do it. Like we call them cement trucks, but I guess they're technically concrete trucks. And it was a drum that was spinning, and then we'd fill it up with, fill the wheelbarrow up, and then I'd carry the wheelbarrow off and dump it somewhere, and someone spread it out, and we had the trowel it and so on. But now you got these big pumpers, and it's unbelievable how the technology has changed, but also the composition of the cement has changed over time.
It has.
Yeah. In what way? Like what are some advances?
There's a big push for sustainability initiatives and decarbonization within the industry. So, Portland cement is one of those things, as we talked about. You heat it to 2,700 degrees to make it. That takes an awfully lot of combustible materials to burn to heat a kiln that high. So we have a new type of cement, fairly new, in the last 10 or 15 years, called Portland limestone cement. So we're grinding limestone and mixing it in a proportion of 8 to 13% of the limestone powder in the cement to try and reduce that carbon footprint. That's just one little thing.
One way you're doing it. Mm-hmm. I was in visiting the construction site for our new residence hall, Castro Hall, and it's actually pretty interesting. They're building, I think it's 7 or 8 stories. And when they finish the first story, they go to the second story, but they start finishing out the first story. And so they're kind of building it as you go. So it's actually the first floor is done, and the second floor isn't even hardly started yet. So you get to kind of see every phase of construction. But what was really fascinating was they've got the concrete floor on like the 6th or 7th floor. And in the olden days, when I was involved in construction, you'd have the boss would be out there with a tape measure and a snap line, and you'd be kind of drawing out where all the walls would go. And they actually have a robot that goes around and it draws lines where all the studs and the footers and the headers will go. And they just like let this thing go, and it's like perfectly engineered about where those lines go, and there's no more boss with a snap line and a tape measure anymore. Just another technological change.
Just a boss programming the robot.
It's still got a boss, but doing
That's
different
right.
things now.
I don't know if you saw it, but at World of Concrete there was another robot on display that was actually out there climbing rebar cages and tying the steel.
Yeah, so I had to carry the rebar, and then we had these little swivel sticks here. You had like a little piece of wire with a little loop on 2 ends, and you twist it around.
Little whirly bird.
Yeah, whirly bird. Yeah. Well, that brings back a lot of memories. So thank you for reminding me. I wish I had the same shoulders and back that I had back in the day. So Claire, what do you think you'll be actually doing when you graduate?
There's so many different avenues that you can do within this industry. Right now, I'm keeping my mind open. I used to think that I wanted to do something kind of like own my own concrete business. I always said that I wanted to own my own concrete business, and then I wanted to hire my mom so I could be her boss.
It still could happen.
Still could happen. Things could change. But like I said, there's so many different avenues. So throughout the internships that I'll do, I'll get more of an in-depth experience, and I'll be able to truly decide what I want to do. Right now, I think I want to do something in sales. I've got a friend of mine that's in the industry, and I told him that I was coming on the podcast yesterday, and he said that I could somehow create a podcast for a major industry or a major company, and so maybe I could do that, but somehow doing public outreach to get the concrete industry out there.
Was there an organization you were part of in high school that kind of really influenced or inspired how you are as a student now?
I would definitely say FFA inspired me to be who I am today. I started my FFA career kind of late. I say kind of late. All of my friends started when they were 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
I started in 8th grade. My freshman year, I became Greenham president. And then sophomore year, I bumped up to chapter vice president. And then my junior year, I became district reporter, treasurer. I can't remember. I became a district officer. And being able to lead all of those different schools, I believe I led 46 different schools within the Mineola district, definitely helped me become the person I am today, being able to run Green Hand Camp for all of those incoming freshmen and 8th graders, just being able to be that kind of person that I needed when I was in 8th grade. I can still remember her name, Jacqueline Rand. She became a state officer. She actually just finished her state officer year. She's at Baylor right now. Just becoming one of those mentors for those young kids in the industry, in the FFA industry, just helped me realize that one day I want to lead, and definitely being in the CIM program is going to help me accomplish that goal.
You have a level of confidence and maturity that a lot of freshmen don't have. In fact, I think the first time we talked, I assumed you were like a graduate student or something like that. And so I think it's really interesting as how for you to look back introspectively and say, like, how did I end up how I am? And a large part of it was being inspired by teachers and sponsors in FFA and band directors and your mascot, trainer and mentor and so on. All those things have kind of led you to get here. But then can you tell me a little bit about the experience you're having here now? Because you're not just learning in the classroom, you're learning outside the classroom as well. How's that going?
Absolutely amazing. My favorite spot to study on campus is 4th floor of Alkek. I'm a very loud person. So yes. I'm a very loud person. So being on that floor of Alkek kind of like helps me study of having other people talk to. I'm on the smallest dorm on campus, Little Old Mesquite Hall.
Okay.
I absolutely adore it. We can house 89 people, but we don't have 89 people. And I got to meet some of my closest friends. We're actually moving into Villaggio Apartments in August. And so being able to study in that one, when you walk into Mesquite Hall, it's kind of like a little Mexican restaurant. It's so small, but it's such a compact and tight-knit group. My RA is one of my favorite people on planet Earth. Shout out Maddie. I know you're watching this. Just being able to find different spots to go study. It's such a beautiful campus.
Yeah.
The first time I came here, it was still cloudy, yet it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Flowers were blooming, and I fell in love. I saw through the arch, and I said, yeah, this is where I'm going to school.
Ryan, tell me a little bit more about the CIM program. How it compares to the other four CIM programs. Are you all doing the same, or do you have different curriculum and different specialties?
Our curriculum is guided by a national steering committee. So there's a 10 core course sequence in the CIM program that we work together and we collaborate among those 5 programs. And we want that to largely be the same.
Yeah.
So if you hire a CIM graduate from MTSU or Texas State or Cal State Chico, you know what you're going to get.
It's one of the really unusual things about CIM is that it's really industry based and tied, and they're telling you this is what I need someone from your program to be able to do.
Yes. Which
is universities traditionally have not done that. Professors design curriculum based on what they thought was important, and sometimes the business people are going like, oh, no, I need them to have this other skill. But you're really intimately involved with the steering committee, which is made up of the professionals and business owners that are out there.
It is. It's a great thing, and it allows us to adapt the curriculum very quickly as new technologies emerge, and we're getting them in the classroom right away, and a lot of industry support for getting that done.
Do we do things that other people don't do?
We all have our own coursework that varies a little differently. So outside of those 10 core courses, we're doing some different things. We've got a course that we've developed. It's going to be new for this fall, related entirely to sustainability management in the concrete industry. So all of the new things that are happening, how do we manage those processes, and how do we communicate that to the general contractors and architects and owners? And so there's a lot happening.
I was visiting some faculty members, and I don't think they're part of CIM, but maybe correct me if I'm wrong. They're doing research on building structures on the moon using moon dust. So basically making cement and using 3D printing using moon dust. Are you familiar with that?
I am.
Yeah.
Some of our faculty were involved with that.
Yeah,
So it's related to that 3D printing of concrete that you were talking to.
Yeah, so. Because moon dust has a different kind of consistency, and there's no Portland cement up there. It's like, how can you make something that you can actually, instead of taking a building up there, how can you build with the product that is up there already? And so I mean, there are people who are thinking about life on Mars and life on the moon and so on as a reality, and the principles of concrete industry will actually be, I think, will be integral to that. I mean, it won't be wooden structures, right? It's going to be, and it won't be steel, so it's got to be something.
I think you and I won't be around, but Claire might be going to the moon.
She might be. She might be. Tell me about students who are coming through the program. Some of them, like Claire, I mean, she knew what she was doing when she got here, but are some of your students kind of like discovering CIM when they get here?
They are. We spend a lot of time recruiting in high schools. So the industry is gracious enough to fund a full-time recruiter for our program.
Yeah.
So we go out and we learn a lot about what students are looking for and what they know and what they don't know about what they want to do. So this is one of those programs where we get to spend a lot of time in the lab. We get to spend a lot of time in the field, a lot of time with the industry, working with our hands, getting our boots dirty.
Yeah.
So there's an appeal to that to a lot of students around the state of Texas and beyond, whether it's in FFA programs or construction and engineering programs or athletics programs. You know, students want to get into a program where they can be outside and be proud of the work that they're doing, and this is one of those programs that gives them the opportunity to do that.
And they're not going to be driving the truck, right? They're going to be telling the driver where to go, and they're
Right.
going to be designing, you know, what kind of mixture to, because the temperature you're paying attention to. So if it's colder or hotter, you got to have a different mix and so on. And so there's a science that these people like Claire will be having to do to make sure that the concrete pours right when it gets there, and it survives and cures the right way, so
Right.
it actually is structurally sound, right? So
Quality control is a huge part of our
Yeah.
industry. So understanding how the material behaves so that we can make sure that we're providing a quality product on time, on budget, that's the basics of what we do.
students are graduating. Where are they going to work?
You know, Claire's going to do her internship at CIMEX this summer, and I kind of laugh a little bit. She says CIMEX just down here in New Braunfels. Well, we're talking about a
multinational
multinational,
corporation,
multi-billion-dollar corporation,
Yeah.
and it's interesting to see when they start to grasp that. So, you know, some of the large cement producers, Holcim, Ash Grove Cement, which is a part of CRH. We've got a lot of large multinational. Knife River Corporation is a materials and contracting company, and so, you know, there's a little bit of everything from the large multinationals to the small local regional. Of course, the Ingram family is very gracious with Texas State and very gracious with the CIM program.
Well, and I was going to mention that you actually read my mind. I was going to think about that the School of Engineering is named after the Ingram family, which really that's their main business is concrete, right?
It is.
And their business is right down there in the same area you'll be going to. So they got a big operation down there, and they're all getting jobs, right? They're not working at the local coffee shop. They're all gainfully employed.
100% job placement for our graduates in the industry.
Yeah, and pretty good paying jobs too.
Very good paying jobs.
Yeah.
We are
Look,
actually.
Claire's smiling right now.
Yeah.
If you're not watching on the video, she's like thinking, "Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to be making the big bucks."
We are actually tied for first place of all of the degree programs on this campus for starting salaries
Wow.
for our graduates.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's not big, right? How many students do you have?
So we are around 165 students in the program right now. Probably be around 200 in the fall.
And actually, we're in a bit of a competition with the other four schools, trying to we would love to be the number one school, right?
We are the number one school.
Yeah, there we go.
But we just need to be number one by enrollment.
By enrollment, and so what is the biggest school?
Middle Tennessee is still the biggest. So
How many students about?
they're just slightly larger than us. I think
Okay.
last fall's enrollment was 190.
Okay, well that's easy. Claire, we need to get you on the road and start recruiting people
Yes,
to come
sir.
out here.
Yes, sir.
We'll send this podcast to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the scholarship opportunities in this program. So we've mentioned World of Concrete. Every year at World of Concrete, our National Steering Committee hosts a auction.
Yeah.
And this year that auction raised over $2.3 million.
And they're auctioning off like cement trucks and things like that, like huge. It's not like a glassware or something like that.
It's everything from
Yeah.
glassware up to ready mix trucks
Yeah.
and pump trucks and laser screeds. So $2.3 million raised to divide among 5 CIM programs, and a lot of that money goes to scholarships, and a lot of that money goes for us to have the option and opportunity to take students to all of these conferences that we go to around the country. So it's the industry putting their money where their mouth is and saying, we need students, we need graduates, and we're willing to pay for them.
And I love, like, I get a chance to interact with the steering committee and the president of the steering committee and so on. They come to campus pretty regularly. You can see the pride they have in what they've created, because it's unusual for an industry to come in and say, we need this, let's put our money where our mouth is, and let's create scholarships. And I can see them looking at their students going, I can't believe we're doing this. And look at this future student who will be this current student who will be a future employee for us. That they're partnering with us to make this happen for something that's really going to benefit them, which then benefits the country, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Claire, you get to be the host of the podcast now and get to ask me a question that a listener has sent in. So what do you got? Fire away.
Okay, so it says, what have you read recently that has changed the way you think?
Oh, that's changed the way I think. That's a really tough question. So I think, actually, I'm going to say I listen to a lot of podcasts now, and I've recently listened to one that was talking about, it was really about thinking about how people think differently about the world. You always think that people think like you think, and it really kind of opened my eyes to think about, to be more empathetic about that people don't think like I think, and I have to really kind of be introspective enough to think this is why I think the way I think, but the person on the other side may not be seeing it the same way I am, or may not see the same situation the way I do. And I think empathy is a superpower. And I think people who read as a young person, they gain empathy because they can actually they can put themselves in the place of the characters in their book, as opposed to people who are just playing on their iPhone or watching a movie. You actually have to use your imagination more. And so this podcast was talking about how you have to work to understand the other person's perspective. And it's kind of overcoming the narcissism that we all have, that everyone should think the way I think. And so it was a really good podcast. So what about you?
So mine's not something that I read recently. It's something that I heard, and it's actually from my uncle. It's you are who you are when you are. So where you are right now might not be where you were 20 minutes ago or 20 years in the future. So kind of live in the moment, bask in the glory, and just you are who you are when you are.
I went to a concert recently. It was Garth Brooks. Yeah, it was great. And it was in Vegas when we were at the Concrete Industry. So we went to the concert, and they made us put our phones in a little envelope that was sealed, and you couldn't take your phone out. And it was the first time in a long time where I wasn't videotaping the thing. I don't know why I feel compelled to videotape. I don't go back and watch it later, oh, that was a really good song. And it forced me to be in the moment. So, Ryan, what about you?
I'm going to nerd out a little bit
That's
here,
all right.
Because I've got to try and find better ways to teach these students. So it's a book that I'm reading right now as we're working to, again, nationally with the 5 programs, how do we teach better business acumen related to our programs and our industry. So I'm reading one right now called Profitable Project, Profitable Business. And it's one of those really well-written from a construction accounting type firm in the industry, and it's something that we're probably going to start implementing into the curriculum just to try and help them learn how, if you're profitable on the project, that's the basis for being profitable as a business.
I don't think people realize how much work professors put into their classes. They think they show up and they teach a class and go home, and they're teaching the same thing they taught 30 years ago. Good professors are always renewing and rethinking about how can I present this better, how can I add to the curriculum, how can I better prepare our students for where they're going. So thank you, Ryan, for doing that. Thank you both for sharing about your insight onto what's happening here at Texas State through our CIM program. And thank you for joining us with The Current. There's always so much going on here at Texas State, and I love sharing that story from the perspective of the people who are making it happen: students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends of the university, all of them making this a better place. Thank you for watching and listening, and until next time, States up, everyone.